that wasn't a Rob.
Yeah.
That wasn't a shot that you typically would have taken.
Let's bring in our man Bobby. What's up, Bobby?
Oh boy, the glasses are up.
Bobby, we already gave the
Bobby.
we already gave the brownie to Grant.
Yes. Well deserved.
We gave him the whole enchilada, John. Don't forget.
Was this
Bobby,
his best game ever?
You can make that case.
Yeah. I mean, between what he did on Giannis, the shooting.
As I said, is just you put up his offensive numbers and you're like, wow, great game. And that wasn't even the best part of his game.
Yeah. I mean, their goal coming into this game was to play more on an island. That's how Grant described it against Giannis, not doubling as much. A lot of those, sneak-ins, showing extra pressure in there, cost them threes. And in this game, they stayed home on those shooters. The double teams disappeared on Giannis, and Grant, Horford, those guys were able to hold it down one-on-one against them. And you see the result. Bucks shot 16% from three. They held it down on the perimeter, and those guys were able to survive inside. It was sort of the same deal as how they were guarding Durant. They really need to bring in and pinch the lane. They did that with Rob, and they did it well. But on the perimeter, you were basically able to guard him one-on-one and stop him
straight
one-on-one.
up. Yep.
Yeah. And that was the game plan.
And I like that. I think, and they were able to do it. And it takes individual performances to be able to do that stuff, and they got it.
Yes, they're so strong, and that's really what it is. They're able to front him, not get bodied. You see Brown and Tatum trying to rotate onto him; they're getting knocked down.
It's not the same.
Even Rob, Rob's getting bodied in there too.
It takes the beef. Both Grant and Horford have enough lateral quickness and enough strength. That's what it takes with Giannis.
Yeah.
The other guys, you're right. Jalen got tossed out of the way one time where he switched on to Giannis. It wasn't even close. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Rob just loses the body battle. And when they just go up together, Rob
ended up fouling a lot too.
Yeah. So. He gets blown off it because Giannis is too physical. He does okay, but you're right. Those other two guys are so much better at it.
Yeah,
but I'd rather it be Rob than either of the Jays. They really struggle with Giannis's physicality. It's not a fair fight.
Well, a smart move too was going to the triple big lineup: Grant, Rob, Horford, and then you essentially have three options with help in there. Yeah, it was upsize rather than downside. Then.
Yeah, you can't triple big a double big, Bobby.
Well, they did it. Bucks did it to start game one.
I haven't seen that movie.
Celtics
Lloyd.
Ime, you can't triple big and double big.
Well, I asked Ime pregame. I was like, what are you gonna do? Because you don't have Smart in there to downsize. You can't go into those Smart white lineups. You don't really have an extra wing to throw out there to go triple wing. So they essentially moved Grant to the 3 to play the minutes that they were missing with Smart out there, and it worked. Guard minutes didn't work as well. I thought Pritchard had an okay game. Derek White was more on the bad end. It's a good start, really rough middle portion, then disappeared late.
Easy.
So, Grant filled not only the Rob minutes in there at the 4 a lot of the time, but also the guard minutes they were missing playing the 3. So, just you can't say enough about his performance. Jalen's start, half the story, I think, in this one. The other 50%, and yes, the brownie, I think, well-deserved, is Grant Williams.
Actually, what Jimmy said is Grant might actually be too good for the brownie. Meaning, like the origins of the brownie were kind of like the unsung hero. Grant was not an unsung hero. He was the friggin' MVP of this game.
And the first round series, so maybe he's ascending. And it's funny because you throw him in the starting lineup and you're like, all right, can we get this level of impact out of him? And it doesn't usually go well. Bring him off the bench and he's and yeah. Oh, you're giving Brown the brownie. That's
no. I'm gonna give Brown I think Brown may have been slightly more important than
oh, definitely. That cushion he gave them in the first half was huge because the Bucks cut the lead from it was 25 at its biggest and it got down to 12, right? At the closest. So that 25-point cushion he gave them in the first half there was vital, especially in the first quarter. Built a double-digit lead that the Bucks were just working back from that point on. So that was the most important factor, definitely. Everything else was just solidifying what he established early on there, and it's great to see him get back to that. Vague talk of his hamstring again. Ime didn't really get into it, but you did see him go into it again. Taken out with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter for that closing stretch. They said it was because he was up to 38 at that point and played a long stretch in the second half, but have to imagine something was bothering him there. We haven't talked to him yet. He'll be coming out post game, but it's still lingering. And now you got Smart injured, so there are some concerns coming out of a really good victory here for them. A good thing is 3 days off heading out to Milwaukee. They'll need that badly.
Yeah, Bobby, I mean, I said this earlier. It didn't seem like, I know that we saw Brown maybe grab the hamstring in that fourth quarter there, but it didn't seem like it was bothering him during the game. Like, it didn't seem like it affected his play, certainly at any point. I mean, he was hitting shots all over the court. He was, doing the typical Jaylen Brown ball handling that we see. He put Grayson Allen on his ass. He drove to the hoop. I mean, I didn't really see anything that made me worry about Jaylen Brown tonight.
Maybe the 0 points in the third. He did
Yeah, but I mean, we see how many times have we seen that though? He gets hot in the first quarter and he kind of slows down.
But that's what I can't stand. Like you just, it's just you want to see it. Like I don't know why we have to count on that being the case. He had 25 in the first half and 5 in the second half. Like that's a disappearing act. You don't, even if it's like you don't want 25 and 25, but 25 and 10, just more involved. He just wasn't getting, he didn't get very many shots up in the second half at all. He was just less a part of the game.
Well, the second half was rough for the whole team, I thought.
Whole team. They got it was too much ISO or one pass and shot. They got away from what they were doing in the first half for sure.
And Ime said that the Bucks stopped closing out as hard, which was part of it too. I mean, the up fakes that the Celtics threw out there in the first half had them in the rafters. I mean, it was insane how aggressive the Bucks played on the perimeter in that first half, and they were so easy to go by. Lopez ended up in foul trouble because of how hard guys were going downhill at him, and it opened up the paint for the Celtics. I don't know what Milwaukee was doing in terms of like the 3 guys sometimes Grant talked about chasing the ball to the perimeter. They had success with it, I guess, in game 1, crowding Tatum and really making him fire out passes and making guys shoot. But in game 2, it flips and the Celtics shoot 47% from 3. So they're going to live with that. But how long do they keep letting the Celtics do that, especially when they're getting more shooters on the floor now between Horford, Pritchard, and Grant? There's always talk about Bud. When's he going to adjust? When's he going to kind of break out of what he's doing going into a series? And you wonder how close the Celtics are going to get eventually to making him do that. I think
what do you think he's going to do? What's Bud going to do?
He's going to stick with it. They're going to keep dropping. They're going to keep crowding the ball handlers, and they're going to keep letting the Celtics shoot threes. I mean, this is their MO.
That's what they do.
Right up there with Miami. They let teams shoot the most threes in the league. So that's what the Celtics took. They got good quality ones. They went to the mid-range more often and shot 48% from 2, which was important as well. But they created some high-quality threes, especially for Grant. And Grant, I mean, how poised is he out there on that line? Up faking multiple times, passing out of there. Sometimes getting downhill, getting a little opportunistic, trying to attack the center one-on-one. I don't think he may likes that as much, but he's definitely in control in those corner spots and making great plays, whether it's him shooting or him passing out of those spots.
Right.
And that's the key. Like, how big of an outlet is he for Tatum right now? I mean, when Tatum's in trouble, he can rant and trust that something good's going to happen over there at that second level.
Facts, my dog.
Facts, my dog. Yeah, no, I mean, there's not a thing you can say about Grant we haven't said already. Like, he's reliable at this point. It's no longer like good Grant game. They actually need him.
Totally need him.
They're counting on him. They need him. And they'd be
actually happy to see him in there.
Yeah, they'd be screwed right now if he wasn't playing the way he was playing.
Like, there were a couple of points I was like, oh my God, they left Grant open for that shot. What idiots. Like, how do you not know? You can't leave him like Pat Connaughton. You can't come off Grant in the corner, dude. Like, didn't you watch any film this year?
And it was funny, Jimmy, because there was another point where they left Tatum alone to go get Grant. So they were overcompensating to get after him out there. And it's been that progression throughout the season, right? We all remember that game where LeBron was just sitting in the paint, letting Grant stand out there. And it slowly worked to the point where sometimes 2 guys are going after him in the corner there. That progression from that, I think that was in December that they played the Lakers there in the Garden, to what kind of pressure he's getting now and able to attack closeouts out of. It's unreal. Like, this year for Grant it's one of the top 3 to 5 stories on the team this season. It's unreal. And 5 guys behind the basket on the Bucks side, all in orange shirts. I don't know if you saw it on the TV broadcast. Grant. I mean, just talk about something that you could just never imagine a year ago. I mean, 1 year ago they were eliminated, but that Brooklyn series, he wasn't even in the game. You couldn't play him.
Yeah.
And now he's the X factor.
Yeah, now like you said, he's somebody that you may went to him right away in this one.
He was more important than Rob in this one. Rob, they had to go to him over Rob.
I mean, if for some reason Marcus Smart,
you needed him in the second half because the offense had stagnated
start.
so badly. You needed a shooter out there. It got a little tight the way they were playing.
Yeah, and
so
you want to hold it down defensively on him too.
Yeah.